Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. What's going on, everybody? Yo, I can feel the excitement building in me right now. This time tomorrow, I will be on my way to Santa Fe, and we will be on our way, hopefully, to some more answers. At the very least, we will be on our way to a whole lot more context, right? So I'm going to really hit the ground running. As soon as I get into Santa Fe tomorrow, I'm going to get my stuff put away in the hotel room, and then it's right to work, boys and girls, right to work. No time to mess around, no time for sightseeing, no time for any of that, which kind of bothers me, to be honest with you, right? Because I wish my first trip to Santa Fe would be on better terms. It's a beautiful place. It's a colonial capital from when the Spanish were in charge of that part of the country. So, there's a lot that Santa Fe offers somebody like me who is a big history buff. But of course, that's not why we're going this time, folks, right? That is not the intention of this trip. And that just adds to my anger, okay? These guys have me so fired up, I'm traveling 2 states away because I can't believe what the legacy media has to tell us. And you don't either. So these guys have me so fired up, these sick pedophile sons of bitches have me so fired up that my whole life has been disrupted by this Jeffrey Epstein case. And it has completely consumed me at this point. I mean, utterly and completely consumed by this case, so much so that I'm leaving to go 2 states away to do what the media and all of their untold resources should have been doing from the very beginning. But that's cool, folks, because guess what? We can't trust them anyway. It's up to us at this point. It is up to us, those of us that are following this story as crazily as we are. Other content creators are doing their part. If everybody just does their small part, all of us do our little piece, then I think that we're going to get a lot of movement in this case, and eventually the cards are going to fall because they're going to realize that this isn't going away. Not this time. We're not turning the other cheek this time. You didn't just steal some money from us this time, all right? You didn't just, go start an endless war and kill 1 million people in the Middle East this time, all right? No, this is a whole different ball of wax. This is a whole different ball game. Right under our noses, in plain sight for everybody to see, these sick bastards at the highest levels of power were trafficking women and raping young girls. If that is not enough to move the needle, if that is not enough for you to stand up and flip the table over in anger and tell these sons of bitches no more, then I do not know what will do it. Personally, this is where I choose to make my stand, folks. This is where I choose to stand up and say enough is enough. We will not take it anymore. We will not be treated like animals, all right? These elites and these people in these high-profile power positions, they're going to start treating us with some dignity, all right? Or there's going to be repercussions. The party's over for these people. No longer can they control the narrative with the media. No longer can they gaslight us. Just turn your TV off, folks. Turn it off. All right? Don't watch the news on TV. It's garbage. It's all BS. You might as well watch Real Housewives of New Jersey. It's just as real as the news. All right? They're not telling you anything you don't know. They're not telling you anything that you can't find on your own. What they're trying to do is pollute your mind with their narrative. The end. Why do you think it's called programming, folks? All right? Turn that shit off. Turn the TV off. There are so many incredibly great investigative journalists that are covering this case and everything else, really, that you don't even need the legacy media anymore. It's an absolute and utter joke the way they've covered this case. It's an utter joke how much secrecy is still covering Zorro Ranch. It's just all of it is an absolute and utter thumb in the eye to the citizens of this country, and especially, folks, and what is even more galling and more maddening is the thumb in the eye to the victims who deserve justice, who deserve their say, who did not deserve to be jerked around by the prosecutors when they gave out that goddamn plea deal with the immunity attached to it. They're the ones who really deserve the justice. They're the ones who deserve to see these sons of bitches get what's coming to them. And folks, like I said, all we can do is our part. All we can do is to make sure we're standing on every single mountaintop that we have access to, every single platform that we use, and we keep on the message. We hammer it home. It's the only way, folks. It is the only way. But there's hope. There's a great awakening in America right now, and I like to call it the American Spring. People are becoming very hip to what's going on, folks. All right? People are becoming very hip to what's going on, and they're starting to understand that what they see on the TV is not real. What the media tells you is not real. Oh, of course, there's a little bit of truth mixed in with everything that they say, right? Because the best lies always have a little bit of truth mixed in. And they figured that out a long time ago, folks. They are no longer to be trusted. They are no longer an ally of the people. They are bought and paid for by the same sick bastards that were running with Jeffrey Epstein, joining Jeffrey Epstein in some cases, and at the very least, enabling that son of a bitch's behavior. It's gross. And it's over. All right? The year 2020, it's it. That's it. This is the year that the predator turns into the prey, folks. And if we keep doing what we're doing now, and there's such a groundswell, there are so many people involved in this case. You have the ladies over at The Prince and the Perv who are doing great work. Make sure you give them a listen. Go download their stuff. They have a great show with a great spin on things, a great angle. They're from Australia. And look, definitely download their podcast, follow them, make sure that you're giving them love, you're sharing their podcast, because they're doing great work right now, okay? Their whole entire continent is on fire, and they find the courage and the wherewithal to hop on their podcast weekly and advocate for these victims and advocate for justice. Look, that's dedication, folks, and that needs to be respected. So I hope all of my listeners will go and give them the love that they deserve. And also a little news for you guys. After I get home from Santa Fe, I'm going to pop onto their show, The Prince and the Perv, and do an interview with the ladies. So make sure you're following them. Make sure you give them love. They certainly deserve it. They're advocating for these victims. And like I said, anyone that can find the time to jump on a podcast and share their knowledge and their information with us, especially when they're dealing with such a crisis like the fires over there, you got to give them a lot of respect, and I certainly do. And I'd like to thank you ladies for all of the hard work that you do. All right, folks, we're going to jump into our article here, and I'm sorry about being long-winded in the monologue, but with me leaving to Santa Fe tomorrow, I'm a bit excited. All right, so the article is from 12 News, CBS 12, and it's a Palm Beach station. And the headline is, Bill aims to prevent secret deals like Epstein's. The author is Chuck Weber, however you want to say it. Saturday, January 18th, 2020. West Palm Beach, Florida. A South Florida congresswoman has announced filing new crime victims legislation aimed at preventing another secret deal like the one struck by Palm Beach pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Well, what do you know? A congresswoman doing their job, talking about putting a law into place to stop stuff like what happened with the Jeffrey Epstein situation? Well, I'll be damned. They took a little bit of time to actually do some work for the people? Hold on a minute. You're telling me that Debbie Wasserman Schultz took time away from political theater to actually do her job and protect the people? Man, what a fantastic woman she is, huh? U.S. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a Democrat from Broward County, is calling the new bill the Crime Victims' Rights Act of 2020. And all kidding aside, I know I'm very cynical and I'm sarcastic a lot, but I don't care what side of the aisle these congresspeople are on or what I disagree with them on other things. If we agree on this topic and we can find common ground on this topic about finding getting justice for these victims, then I don't care what your political affiliations are, and I don't care what we disagree with in other realms of the world, because really, at the end of the day, we need to all be everyone who is focused on bringing these people to justice. We have to leave all of that baggage, all of that crap at the door, and we have to unite, folks, all right? We have to unite with the thing that brings us all together, and that is justice for these victims and these sons of bitches getting what they deserve, right? So I don't care if you like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I don't care if you hate her. The fact is, at the very least, she's putting something out there. So for that, we have to give her props, right? Last year, a federal judge sitting in West Palm Beach ruled the old Epstein secret agreement violated the law because prosecutors failed to consult with victims. It's such a gross miscarriage of justice. How do you fail to consult with the victims, and then as an extra kick in the pants, you don't fix your F up in the next trial, right? You just say, no, we can't open it because Jeffrey Epstein's dead, so that's the end of that. It's such a joke. It's such a joke, and the law needs to be changed. Just this week, one of Epstein's Palm Beach County victims, Courtney Wild, attended oral arguments before a federal appeals court panel. In spite of Epstein's apparent suicide, in August, while in custody in New York, Wild continues her 10-year-old fight to reopen the old deal, potentially paving the way for charges against alleged Epstein accomplices. We've certainly never seen a case where the government has been found to have concealed and misled the victims about what's going on, said Paul Cassell, one of Wild's attorneys. So that's what makes this case so unusual. Paul Cassell used to be a judge as well, folks, so I'm pretty sure he knows what's going on with the law. I'm pretty sure he has an idea and a good grasp of what's going on. Wild has said starting at age 14, she was sexually abused by Epstein at his Palm Beach estate. Yet in 2007 and 2008, as federal prosecutors wrote to Wild and other victims, informing them that the investigation was ongoing, Epstein had already struck his secret agreement with those same prosecutors. The victims knew nothing about the deal. Again, folks, why would these victims come forward if they come forward and this is the result? Nobody's protected them. ABC shit on the Virginia Roberts interview. None of these these legacy media outlets were running anything about it, and they all worked together in concert to squash this story, is what it looks like. The so-called non-prosecution agreement between Epstein and federal prosecutors moved the case to state court, where he faced watered-down charges and his associates were shielded from potential prosecution. Epstein ended up serving just 13 months at the Palm Beach County Stockade, most of that time spent on lenient work release. Aw, isn't that nice? Boy, that Jeffrey Epstein, he's such a good guy. Let's give him work release so we can go out and abuse more girls. Really? And nobody's being held responsible for that? Who made the decision to give him work release, huh? How come they're not being held responsible? Okay? But the two guards who fell asleep, they're the ones, they have charges against them though, right? It's such a joke, folks. The whole entire system is a joke at this point. Now the new bill being filed by Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz aims to prevent another such agreement from bypassing victims. Good for her. Good for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Wasserman Schultz proposes requiring prosecutors to notify victims of their rights and giving judges the ability to remove or sanction prosecutors who fail to comply. Well, that's a good idea, huh? But it should be more. Would it just remove? There should be real penalties for this. The legislation would also create a crime victims' rights office for investigating violations. Another piece of legislation with similar goals was filed this past fall and was named for Wild. Wasserman Schultz bill got a boost when the Republican congressman who authored the original crime victims rights bill, James Sensenbrenner of Wisconsin, signed on as a co-sponsor. Well, that's good. Look, at the end of the day, folks, we all know that these Republicans and these Democrats in Congress really don't have much to agree on at this point. There is not much common ground, right? There is a big divide in the country, a big divide on ideas and thoughts, and basically we have a country that's living in two realities right now. So it's nice to see the Republican Congressman Sensenbrenner and Debbie Wasserman Schultz putting all of that to the side and meeting in the middle to co-sponsor a bill like this and try and make sure we never have a situation like this again. So I will definitely give Debbie Wasserman Schultz her props for that, and I hope that they're serious about this and they really push this bill. And that you would think that all the other congressmen and congresswomen would sign on and back it, but in Washington, D.C., you never know what's going to happen. You never know what these people are up to, and you never know what their motivations are. And to tell you the truth, folks, you don't even know where their loyalties are anymore. It's certainly not to America. It's certainly not to America at this point with a lot of them. It's like we live in a corporate monarchy and our lives are run by robber barons, and the robber barons are the congressmen and congresswomen. It's a sad state of affairs in America right now, and everything is completely turned on its head. And with that being said, it is nice to see these two come together for a bill like this. I think this is a good bill. I think this is an important bill, and I think this will help going forward to prevent situations such as this. All right, folks, if you'd like to contact me, you can do that at Bobbycapucci at protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. Or you can find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. If you would like to help support the podcast and get us out to some of these locations like this Santa Fe trip in the future, you can do that by clicking on the GoFundMe link in the description box. And folks, I will be back later on tonight with the Daily Drop. T-minus 23 and a half hours until I'm on my way to Santa Fe. I don't know if they're ready, but I hope you are. All right, everybody, I will be back later. Enjoy your Sunday.